I might have just found my movie of the year. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So today I've got my review of Predator Badlands. I was able to see the movie early. It hits theaters this Friday, so these are going to be my honest, spoiler-free thoughts. But before I get into this, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and comment down below your thoughts on Predator Badlands, as well as your expectations or predictions for the film if you have not yet seen it. But let's get down to business. When it comes to Predator Badlands, this is a film I was anticipating because actually in June, I watched all the Predator movies for the first time, excluding the original. I had seen that back in 2020, but I went through all the films. I got sick. I had like a week in June where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to binge watch the Predator movies leading up to Killer of Killers because that was around that time. So I had seen them all, including the two AVP films. Coming into this with Dan Trachtenberg back to direct, I felt pretty good, but I was also skeptical and you could say cautiously optimistic because this was the first film in the series where there wasn't like a human lead and the predators or the Auja were the heroes of the film, or loosely, I'll use that term, I should say, the lead of the film is Dek, this Yauja, and so I was skeptical about that and how it would just play out. Having seen the film, man, am I glad to say Trachtenberg is 3 for 3 when it comes to his Predator films. He knocked it out of the park with Prey, he did something fun, fresh, and new with Killer of Killers in the world of animation, and here, he's back at it again and doesn't miss a beat. Predator Badlands rules. And I think a main reason why is because it's yet another step for this franchise exploring uncharted territory, right? There are so many new concepts introduced. It furthers the lore of what's capable of what we thought was possible in this world. And it does the impossible by humanizing a Yauja, a predator, who again have historically been the main villains of this film. Like the xenomorphs for Alien, the predators are the bad guys of this universe. Not here necessarily, and it's impressive how they are able to handle that. Because Dek, the main predator, is going on this emotional journey. There are many themes explored about his expectations societally, familial trauma, brotherhood relationships. They dive into all that stuff within like the first 20-25 minutes. So when this hunt begins and you get launched into this adventure as an audience member, you give a damn and you really care about this main character, Dek. Along the way, there are some fun creatures getting introduced on this planet that he ends up on. And of course, Elle plays a synthetic who may or may not be involved with Weyland-Yutani, kind of getting into the world of Alien here a bit. And so the way that they tackle the language barrier for the audience, they make it easily accessible. So if you're like worried about this movie being fully in subtitles, you shouldn't be because it is easily accessible. There are a lot of moments where the main character Dek is speaking in a different language. In fact, for the entirety of the film he is, but you just gotta watch and see how they creatively sort of get around that to make it, again, easily accessible to every audience member who's tuning in. Now, when you go to a Predator film, a lot of the times you're expecting big action, and you can expect that here yet again. I mean, the action is certainly a selling point of Badlands. There's like one badass sequence after another here, whether it's hand-to-hand combat and the fighting style of Dayucha, or Dek taking on these unique creatures to the planet he ends up on. It's really neat, and if you are a fan of this franchise, I imagine this will be right up your alley with the combat, with the violence, and just the straight up awesome action sequences. There's a good blend of like one-on-one fights with other action sequences that are more moving pieces. There's some pretty cool set pieces involved here as well. So all around, I would describe this film as having thrilling action, like truly exhilarating stuff. It's aided by the visual effects, which impressed me greatly. I don't know what the exact budget of Badlands was. There are certain wide shots of characters walking around this planet. I'm like, this looks like something out of Lord of the Rings or Dune. Like, I was really just blown away by what came off to the audience, at least, as this blend of practical set pieces with the VFX. On top of that, the score here, chills. I'm a sucker for a great score, and it's booming. We saw this in Dolby at the early screening, and it was just rocking my seat from like the first minute of the film. There's a score that's playing. I'm like, yeah, we're back in this world right now, and it just feels right. Badlands is also able to sprinkle in the perfect amount of humor, not to make it feel like, you know, a watered down take on Predator, but there are some funny moments that I did not expect going in. Now, a major concern of a lot of Predator fans is that this movie is PG-13 while all the others are R-rated. I don't think that's a disservice to the movie, though. That doesn't take away from anything. The main reason I've read is because there's not a lot of human blood or gore It's more these creatures' blood or green blood, so it's not as lifelike or realistic, so that's why it can be catered to more of a PG-13 rating. It doesn't lose, you know, what makes it a Predator film. There is still action galore, beheadings, creatures getting chopped up, cut open. I mean, they go for it. I wouldn't say it's as gnarly as, say, even Prey or Killer of Killers, but that's because it is not human blood. Humans aren't being hunted in this film, right? It's all these other creatures, there's, you know, synthetic stuff, but there's no human carnage, and so that is a huge reason why the film is PG-13, but don't be alarmed, okay? I mean, by comparison, it's probably the tamest in terms of the violence and like the gore, but you're not gonna walk away going, man, I wish we saw more like human guts in this film. I needed that. If so, boy, do I have a franchise for you called Saw. It's no surprise at this point in the review that I'm pretty high on this movie. If I had to have some sort of con, maybe that's it, you know? It is PG-13, so it's automatically putting itself in a standalone category compared to the others. But that's not like, oh man, I could have used more human beheadings or humans getting torn to shreds by a predator, because we still get to see all that carnage, just not with humans, if that makes sense. I really thought this movie was well paced. It's an hour 47. By the time it ended, I was like, I could have watched more. In fact, when I sat through the credits, I heard someone in the theater say, I could have watched more. I wanted more. And I feel that. Like, I don't think the movie wastes a second. Dan Trachtenberg directs the hell out of it. And honestly, he has this knack for ending movies really well. Like, it concludes the story and the journey everyone goes on, but it sets up a sequel in the moment, and you're just like, I want to roll right into that next movie. He does the same thing with Prey, he does the same thing with Killer of Killers, and so he's knocked it out of the park 3 times now. I'm glad he has the keys to the franchise. I firmly believe whatever he touches in the world of Predator is probably going to be a home run. I have no reason to doubt him at this point in time. And so I'll say it, Predator Badlands is badass. It's potentially my favorite of the franchise. I'm going to have a ranking coming later this week, so you got to stay tuned to see where it lands. But it fires on all cylinders from the jump. It's perfectly paced. The action's top notch. There's sprinkles of humor that work. Visually, it shines. The score booms. But the character work is what really sells me. Notably, the relationship between Deck and Thea. That is a home run. The performances work. I mean, this is what you want out of a Predator film, okay? It rules. It's one of my favorites of the year, certainly in the conversation for Best Predator Film, and I can't wait to check this one out again soon. But that does it for my review of Predator Badlands. Very pleased to finally have a home run in the year 2025 that's been kind of a lower year for me, at least, with movies. This is a winner, and it will be in my top 10, maybe my top 5 or higher of the year when it's all said and done. But what do you guys think if you've seen this movie? If you haven't, let me know your predictions, your expectations down below, how you feeling. Of course, hit that like button, subscribe to that notification bell, and be on the lookout for my ranking of all the Predator films coming very soon. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.